Late night in the heartland. Monday fun day. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much. Welcome to Late Night in the Heartland. I hope you're ready for some unindoctrination, because ready or not, we got some coming to you tonight. I know that I say this from time to time, but I always mean it when I say it. And let me turn on my focus from my Mantra essential oil nebulizing diffuser. I always say it because I mean it. This is going to be perhaps the most important program that I've ever done. And this is a type of program that I know there's a lot of places on the internet, a lot of places you can get information. This is the only place that you're able to get information like this, is because I'm the only one that's qualified to do this. I know I'm the best in the world at what I do, and I want to thank those of you that are listening on WBCQ on the shortwave. Please, if you're listening on the shortwave, give me a call. Give me a little note at jeffreydaugherty.com that says, hey, I'm listening to you on shortwave. I love the people there. We have a potential audience in the millions. I'd like to know how many people are actually watching so we can make responsible decisions. And I want to thank those of you that helped us pay the bill last month, $1,400. And I've got a few of these left. If you want to send at least $20 for the shortwave work, I'll send you this booklet. It's called Alien Agenda in the New Testament. It's about 50 pages. They are just for your help. They are signed and numbered by me personally. A gift of at least $20 or more, and you get the book lit for free, postage paid, and sent right to you. And if you want to help out beyond that, we certainly appreciate you doing so. Tonight, we're going to talk about communism must be stopped. Now, a lot of people can talk about communism, but we're also going to talk about that Christianity must also be stopped too. Not many people can talk about that and give you reasons why. And we're going to talk about the 7 seals of Revelation, which, again, not everybody can talk about in a profound way, and the fact that there's a Trojan horse in the United States of America. So, great stuff. And I want you to know you can get us on Parler. You can get us on Brighteon. You can get us on Rumble. You can get us on Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on Twitter right now. Through Periscope. We would be broadcasting live on Facebook, but the communist censors there have us on Facebook jail, so we're not able to be on Facebook jail. And speaking of communist censors, if we ever do run into further problems with that, which I don't anticipate because our great president is going to be reelected, but if we ever did run into those type of situations, you can always find me at jeffreydaugherty.com. And if need be, we would broadcast this program right from here live. We wouldn't go away on WBCQ. We'll be there. And just thanks to Alan and all the great folks there. But if you go to jeffreydaugherty.com, you can see all of our information right here. And some of the most important information we have is I'm now working with My Daily Choice. And today until midnight, the next 2 hours, you can get 10% off your great CBD products. I'm using them more focused, more centered, just a sense of calm and a sense of laser focus. The My Daily sprays, I've told you I'm wired up when I get finished with the show. They have a sleep spray. It puts me out within half an hour. I sleep very soundly. I wake up about 2 hours before I normally did, more rested. The great oils, the essential oils, I'm using it right now through the nebulizer. It's called Focus. It makes me do this show better. And make yourself a better person. Travel more, and High Life Travel will enable you to do that. Just click right there in the My Daily Choice. That'll take you to whistleblowercbd.com. And you're going to use these products. Use them through me so you can help me spread the message of indoctrination, unindoctrination. And tonight on Late Night in the Heartland, communism must be stopped. Christianity too. There's a Trojan horse in the USA. Here's the last show that we did, the CCP pathogen. And tonight, high intrigue, swirling rumors. There's vast intel chatter. Is a Biden concession coming, a Joe Biden concession? We'll talk about that. Has the CIA head been Gitmo'd? And we'll talk about advice from Abraham Lincoln if we do have time available. We also have the great Not Your Normal Sunday show. Last week was Creation, Not the Bible, proves that we're made by the divine. But let's talk about some of this high intrigue right now, ladies and gentlemen. And there are some various swirling rumors that come from what I consider a very high and at least somewhat reliable source, ladies and gentlemen, at least somewhat reliable source coming from a person that used to be in the intelligence community, coming from a person that does have years in the intelligence community. There is a question, ladies and gentlemen, of the whereabouts of CIA director Gina, what's her last name? Haspel, Gina Haspel. And there's considerable chatter that she may have been arrested for treason and is on her way to Guantanamo Bay. She may have been shot or suicided for resisting the White Hat takeover of the servers that were seized in Frankfurt, Germany, where I lived for 3 years. So the rumors are that she could have been shot. She wouldn't stand down. She was warned, and she was shot by the special forces that were capturing those servers. There's proof there. Was she suicided? Was it death by cop, so to speak? Or has she simply been arrested for treason and she's now in a 10x10 down in Guantanamo Bay and awaiting trial on treason? I know those are wild rumors. They're all over the internet, but some of them, folks, are coming from intel sources that are at least reasonably reliable. Now, the second thing that we're hearing a little bit of is there's discussion. We know that Joe Biden got supposedly a twisted ankle playing with his dog. Joe Biden's not playing with any dogs. Joe Biden didn't twist his ankle playing with his dog. That much I'm sure of. Now comes word that Joe Biden's going to be wearing a boot. Is that all he's wearing? Is this a way to mask some sort of a ankle bracelet? Because there is very, very interesting intel. And again, this is just, it's intel. It's not sure. We're speculating, but it's worth speculating because that's what we do. We take into consideration many and various and sundry possibilities. Joe Biden supposedly hurt himself in, it was either McLean or Alexandria, Virginia, one of the two cities. It slips my mind right now which one, McLean or Alexandria. I believe it was McLean. And McLean just happens to be the home of the CIA. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. And when Joe Biden supposedly, quote unquote, hurt his ankle, it also appears from other intel that Marine One was in that area. Do you know what Marine One is? Marine One is analogous to Air Force One, and Marine One is the big chopper that you see the president fly on. So if Marine One was there, if Joe Biden was in McLean, Virginia, if Joe Biden is faking a trip to the hospital, if Joe Biden has a boot that's concealing an ankle bracelet, some type of a tracking device, there's word that Joe Biden is working a deal with President Trump to come clean and to confess that the election was stolen. And of course, Joe just found out about it like 5 minutes ago. He didn't know from the beginning, and we'll probably prove tomorrow night that he did know from the beginning. But they're considering a plea bargain for Joe to say, look, it was a cheat. It was a steal. I don't want to win this way. I concede. I'll work with you, Mr. President, to bring the saboteurs to justice. There's talk that that's going to happen. Some of you say, no, fry Joe, fry Joe, fry Joe. I understand that thought. And I also, as an American and as a person that tries to be level-headed, ask myself, Would it not be better for the country potentially? Joe Biden, who really cares? He's going to be dead in a few months anyway. The guy is already on death's door, one foot in the grave, as they say, the other foot on a banana peel. And no one deserves death more than that traitor and that person. You know, somebody wrote today that Donald Trump gave up a billionaire lifestyle for America, and Joe Biden gave up America for $1 billion lifestyle. So I have no empathy or sympathy for Joe Biden. But as the country's concerned, it might be better for the country if Biden would admit it, if Biden would, quote unquote, come clean. Of course, it's a foxhole conversion, to use another old cliche, but it would probably be better for the country if Biden would do that. It would allow for some type of healing. It may prevent some insurrection. It may save some half-witted lives of these half-witted, bought and paid cowards that'll go out and burn and loot. No doubt somebody's still going to try to get them some free Nikes at Walmart. No doubt somebody's still going to try to get them a free big screen from Target by taking advantage and doing a peaceful protest. And you know what? Maybe those type of people deserve to get shot. Maybe they do deserve to get shot. Maybe that's called purifying the gene pool. Maybe that's called thinning out the welfare rolls. Maybe that's called saving some food stamp money. And maybe that's called saving some Section 8 housing money. I don't know. Maybe that's called that. And maybe we should just let it burn. And maybe we should purify the gene pool a little bit. But that's not for me to say. That is not for me to say. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about if they rioted and the military or the National Guard came in and had to take care of them with lethal measures, which I'm telling you is going to happen. President Trump is not going to allow Minneapolis. He's not going to allow Seattle. He's not going to allow Portland. He's not going to allow Kenosha Part 2. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. If these people do riot, if these people do go about their peaceful protests that includes burning things down and beating people up, then they will be meeting the business end of a piece of hot lead being propelled at high velocities. President Trump will bring the whirlwind, and he said it over and over. He will end it in half an hour. You don't do that with bullhorns and water hoses. You do that with what is called extreme prejudice, and that's what's coming, and that's what needs to come, because we've had enough of this foolishness. So I'm hoping that the Biden thing is true, but true or not, Joe Biden is going down. Joe Biden will never spend a moment in the White House unless he's sitting there in a chair, probably shackled. The CIA director traitor, probably either in Gitmo or already taken out. We won't get to the advice from Abraham Lincoln tonight. We'll do that at another time. But let's go ahead and move into the portion of our program where I do a little bit of talking. Then we throw open the phone lines and allow you to talk about whatever on your mind. You don't have to talk about what I'm talking about. You can, but if you don't, you can make up your own decisions. And again, if you're calling from WBCQ, please let me know you're calling from the shortwave. If you're calling from Twitter, let me know you're calling from Twitter. I appreciate that very much. So let's look at this. Communism must be stopped. Christianity too. There's a Trojan horse in the United States of America. I'll try not to spend more time than I need to, but this is a very, very big subject, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls and cousins of all ages. So we're going to get to it. And I feel so good tonight. It's not just the focus. It's not just the sprays. It's not just the CBD. But I also had a 28-degree cold plunge tonight. And let me just encourage you. If you want to change your life, if you want to feel better, if you want to greatly increase your vitality and health, there's not many things that you can do more than start doing a cold plunge. The water has to be at least 55 degrees or less. My water is down around 40 now. I'm in a lake. It's 28 degrees out. I walk down there. I get in the water. I'm under. I'm there for a minute. I get out. It will change your life. It's called cold plunging, and I appreciate and encourage each one of you to partake in that if you can. So let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. Communism must be stopped. Christianity too, and we're going to show you how the 7 seals of Revelation are about communism. But Jeff, they're about Christianity. Yeah, they are. And you're going to see why it's about both. So let's jump right in, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you brought your thinking cap with you tonight because you're going to need it. This is war that we are seeing right now in the United States of America. Make no mistake about it. I feel focused. I feel great. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is war. We are seeing an attempted communist revolution. And this will either be a communist revolution in the United States of America or a second American revolution on this continent. We all know what this is. We see it all around us. We are living it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is war. There's no doubt about it. This is war. There's two possibilities. It's either a communist revolution that we will live through in the United States of America and be subject to, or we're looking at being part of the Second American Revolution. What a privilege. I'm excited to be alive. I'm honored to be alive. And I feel empowered, I feel encouraged, and I feel strong. I really do. And for us to be victorious in this Second American Revolution, communism must be defeated. I think everyone would agree with me with that statement. Here's another statement that you may not agree with, and I hope that you will have the tenacity and the mental discipline to stay with me long enough to understand what I'm talking about. Thank you, Lady Lacey. Christianity must also be stopped. Why? Because Christianity is the Trojan horse inside America. And prophecy, biblical prophecy, is the fulfillment of a communist revolution and a communist takeover. Cynthia says, we're at an incredible place in this timeline, and we are. Ponder what I've just said. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it. Here we go. The 7 seals of Revelation is an encoded communist victory within what you call the Holy Bible. Think of all the people that you've listened to talk to you about the 7 seals of Revelation, talk to you about prophecy, talk to you about eschatology, as they call it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you tonight that the 7 seals of the book of Revelation are an encoded version and prediction of communist victory. The 7 seals of Revelation are communist victory encoded. How do you know, Jeff? I spent 20 years as an Assemblies of God evangelist. I was a licensed minister full-time for 20 years. I've got a Bible college degree. I have over 100,000 hours of study just in the biblical scriptures, and thousands of hours beyond that in other realms of spirituality. This is why I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one alive that can bring you this information. I'm the best in the world at what I do. I'm the only one in the world that does what I do, so I'm actually probably the worst in the world at what I do as well. But with apologies to Chris Jericho, my friend, I am le champion of biblical revelation, and nobody does it better. No one does it worse either, but that's a terrible song. So let's look at this. I gave you different ways to look at the 7 seals of Revelation. Try not to bore you with a bunch of text. But the first seal, the white horse, goes out with a crown and conquering, goes out to conquer. The second seal, peace is removed from the earth, which always happens when people go out conquering. Third seal, you get famine, which always comes with violence, which always comes with war. Fourth seal, you get death, you get sword, you get famine, you get wild beasts ravaging populations, which always follows these natural events. The fifth seal, you got people killed, which always follows these natural sequence of events. Sixth seal, you get some celestial occurrences that we'll talk about. And then the seventh seal, you get this guy coming back, kicking ass, taking name, setting himself up to be the sole ruler from one city over the whole world, ruling with an iron rod and an iron fist. You can look at it. Here's another one. First seal, conquering. War and bloodshed, which follow conquest. Famine always follows war. Pestilence and death always follow famine and war. Persecution of people. And then you have a casting out or an overthrow of a power system. And then you've got the seven trumpets, which are all of those woes and things that fall upon the earth. Even a third way to look at it. You can stop these. You can go back. You can look at these. First seal, second seal, third, fourth, fifth seal, sixth seal, seventh seal. It gives you scriptural references over here. We'll touch on those as well. Sorry for that one being stretched out, but we wanted to give you the best ability to see it. So let's look at these seals, and let's look at them as me telling you that they're about communism and they're about a communist overthrow of the world. Most of you believing that they have to do with God coming back and God taking over. Let's see what makes more sense. The first seal, a world conqueror. He went forth conquering and to conquer. It's in Revelation chapter 6. Christianity, and most of you, to be frank, want to believe that this is the Antichrist and that this will take place in the future. And most of you, and if you listen to your gurus on YouTube, they'll all say it's going to take place in the immediate future. They want you to think that this first seal shows the Antichrist going out in the future to conquer the world. I'm telling you that history shows us that this already took place. History shows us this has already taken place, and it took place in 70 AD. I'm telling you, and I'm going to prove to you, that this portion of the script, sure, it's a script, is being leveraged as scripted prophecy to cover the rise of a communist revolution in the United States. And it's not just the United States, it's across the whole world. So those of you listening to us on WBCQ and listening to us in other countries on YouTube and Twitter, which I know you do, we're also concerned about you. And I get calls almost every night. You hear them come in, and people say, Jeff, please stand strong in America. Please stand strong in America. We need you to stand strong, because if you fall, we fall. We don't want to be taken over by communists. So Christianity wants you to think this is the Antichrist taking over the world in the immediate future. I'm telling you that history shows that it took place in AD 70, and I'm telling you that it's being used as scripted prophecy, and it is being used to cover and legitimize a communist revolution, and it's set up to get Christians to go along with it and even fight for it. And I ask you simply, could a man going forth conquering and to conquer, could it refer to a communist revolution? Yes or no? Could it refer to a communist revolution? Yes or no? If you want to quote scriptures, if you want to make scriptural statements and predictions in my chat room, you're not allowed to, because I'm going to open up the calls, open up the phone lines at the end of my discussion, and you will be allowed at that time to call in and use and give me scriptures if you want to. You'll be able to call in at that time and make statements and preach, but not now. Not now. So could this refer to a communist revolution? The second seal. And this guy going out conquering to conquer takes peace from the earth. People start killing each other, and he's given a great sword. Christianity wants you to think this is the Antichrist, that it'll take place in the immediate future. I'm telling you that history shows it took place in AD 70. Titus went forth to Jerusalem. He surrounded it, and they started killing each other inside Jerusalem. I'm telling you that this is also being leveraged as scripted prophecy to cover the rise of communist revolution in the United States. Are we not already seeing people kill each other in the United States, instigated by communist groups? Yes or no? Yes or No, ladies and gentlemen. And I did not take away anyone's right to comment, you piece of filth, in the chat room. This is my channel. I'm the one that pays the $1,400 a month. Really, our great followers pay the $1,400 a month to put this on worldwide shortwave radio. Not you, hermit. Not you. I'm the one that puts this together and does the work. And these people are here to hear me, not you. And I guarantee you that when I open the phones, you won't have the balls to make a call because you're a little dickless troll. And the BLMs that are communist motivated and led, the Antifas that are communist motivated and led, are they already causing people to kill one another in our cities? Yes or no? Yes, they are. Did they do it in AD 70? Yes, they did. This is scripted prophecy, and it's here to convince Christians that it's okay to let the communists take over the United States. I ask you, could this war and bloodshed, could this refer to the events resulting from a communist revolution? Yes or no? It's another yes, it could. The third seal. This is famine. Christianity wants you to believe it's the Antichrist and it'll take place because of his actions in the near future. I'm telling you that historically it took place in AD 70. Titus surrounded Jerusalem. They started killing each other. They started eating each other. There was famine because he cut off all of their food going in and out of Jerusalem. It's also happening right now. It's happening right now. We're seeing people, oh, we don't have enough to eat. We're seeing famine. And it's going to get worse if the communists take over, and it is being presented as a cover for communist revolution in the United States. I ask you, could the first seal refer to a communist leader going out to conquer? Yes. Could the second seal, ladies and gentlemen, refer to people killing each other in a communist revolution? Yes. Could this third seal, famine, be the result of a communist revolution? Yes. The fourth seal, hunger, death, beasts of the earth, start happening. Could this happen because of the actions of the Antichrist in the immediate future? Well, I guess it could, but it happened historically in AD 70 exactly this way. They were killing each other inside the city. If they tried to flee, they killed each other, or the Romans killed them. And by the way, this here, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, that's exactly the increase that Titus gave to the Roman armies when he took over. He gave them a raise so that they could get a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. It's tied right back to AD 70, and you're not going to believe what I show you in a few minutes. I'm telling you, historically, this took place. They killed each other inside Jerusalem. If they fled Jerusalem, they got killed with the Roman short sword. They were having famine inside. They were eating each other. They were dying. And the beasts of the earth were roaming in Jerusalem, eating and attacking and killing people and attacking those that fled. It's real. History says this happened in AD 70. I'm telling you, this is going to happen in the United States as communist revolution sweeps the United States, and you're already seeing it happen. Could it refer to disease and death following a communist revolution? Yes or no? The answer is yes. The fifth seal. Souls of them that were slain. Christianity wants you to believe this is the Antichrist and the people that are killed by the Antichrist during the tribulation period. I'm telling you that history shows it took place in AD 70. Tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people were killed by the Romans and were killed by themselves in warfare within the city, just like in Portland and Minneapolis, etc., etc. This is also going to happen even more in the United States of America as communist revolution sweeps through. Because I will either fight to victory or I will be one of these souls that are slain if communism tries to take over the United States of America. And I hope that I didn't stutter, and I hope that your ears didn't flap. I know I didn't stutter. I hope that your ears didn't flap. I said that if communist revolution comes to the United States of America, I will either be victorious in the army that stands up and fights back, or I will be one of these souls that are slain for the cause of America. And I like our chances. I see these Black Lives Matter. I see these Antifa, and they got nothing. I look at them and I say, I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game. We're warning you. We don't want to fight. We don't want war. We don't want conflict. We just want to be left alone. But you have pushed us as far as we're going to be pushed. We will not back up one more centimeter. If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. But it's coming to you wall to wall and treetop tall with extreme prejudice. You won't like it and you won't survive it. Could this refer to persecution following a communist revolution? Of course it could. The sixth seal. Sun becomes black as sackcloth of hair. Moon becomes blood. Stars from heaven fall. Christianity wants you to believe this is the Antichrist and it'll take place because of his actions in the immediate future. I'm telling you that historically in AD 70 this took place. The sun became black because of the smoke of Jerusalem blocking out the sun. The moon looked red because of the smoke of Jerusalem blocking out the moon. There was many comets and stars at that time in AD 70. And I'm telling you that this is being leveraged as scripted prophecy to cover the rise of communist revolution in the United States. Because as our cities burn, as they would in a communist revolution, the sun would also become black because of the smoke again. As our cities burn because of communist revolution, the moon would also look as blood again because of the smoke. And all of our stars, the stars in that blue field of the great American flag would fall, wouldn't they, from heaven? Could this refer to a casting down of freedom following a communist revolution? Yes, it could. And then you've got the seventh seal, voices, thunderings, lightnings, earthquake, the ruler coming back and taking over completely. Christianity wants you to think this is the Antichrist, that it'll happen in the future. I'm telling you it took place in AD 70. All of these things took place in AD 70 when Titus stormed the city, destroyed it, destroyed the temple, killed everybody in it. It's being leveraged as scripted prophecy. They're using it, even though it's history, to make you believe it's going to be future, and they want you to root for it when it's really a communist revolution taking over the United States. Could this refer to woes following a communist revolution? Of course it could. Of course it could. The seven seals are the story of a communist revolution. And the seven seals are the story. The seven seals story is a communist invention. What if I can show you without one doubt that the story of the book of Revelation, as you know it, was invented by communists? Would you believe me? That's up to you. The book of Revelation, up to the 16th century, this is the 21st century. So if you have 21 apples and you take 16 away, you're left with 5 apples. And for 16 of the 21 apples, the entire church believed in and espoused what was called the historicist perspective. What does that mean? It means that Revelation, Daniel, Matthew 24, all prophecy, all eschatology, all end time stuff was understood as being historical. And the historical perspective was so strong and so pervasive within Christianity from day one all the way to the 16th century that historicism in reference to prophecy was a plank in the platform of the Protestant Reformation. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It doesn't matter if you don't think it. It is a fact and a matter of historical record. It doesn't matter what you think. It is the way it was. It is a fact. And it's not open to dispute. It's not open to discussion. That's the way it was. There was no futurist interpretation of Bible prophecy until the 17th century. Late in the 16th, actually. That's a typo. Late in the 16th century, in the 1530s, 40s, 50s. That's the 16th century, by the way. 1501 through 1599, 16th century. The futurist version of prophecy was invented in the 16th century. And it was actually invented by a group of people called the Counter-Reformers in a movement called the Counter-Reformation. The futurist version of prophecy was invented in the 16th century as an attack on the Protestant Reformation. Think about that for a minute. All of you that say you're Protestants and you look back to the Protestant Reformation as your lineage and as your heritage, and your chest swell with pride because you're preaching the message of the Protestant Reformers. You're actually preaching the message of the Catholic Counter-Reformers. You're not going to believe this. Everybody, Luther, Calvin, all of Tyndale, all of the reformers, all of the people from the Protestant Reformation believed that Revelation was history, not future, and that it showed the rise of the Roman Catholic Church as the Antichrist system. They all believed that the book of Daniel was history, not future, and it showed the rise of the Roman Catholic and the Pope as the Antichrist system. They all believed that Matthew 24 was history, and it showed what happened when Rome destroyed Jerusalem and launched Roman Catholicism in earnest. That's just a fact, Jack. It doesn't matter what you think. But. Futurist prophecy was invented by the Catholics. It was invented by the Jesuits. It was invented by communists. It was invented by Father Francisco Ribera. He was a Jesuit. Notice the NFL type logo on his chest. And some of you claim you're truthers. You claim you'll do anything. You claim you'll fight for truth. You won't even, language warning, you won't even turn off the fucking NFL. They kneel, they Black Lives Matter, they Antifa, they insult your country, and you won't even stop watching a football game. You're a hypocrite. I agree, Alex. I agree 100%. Please subscribe to this channel. If you love me, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell twice because you don't want to miss anything that's coming. If you hate me, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell twice because you need to keep your eye on me, and I'm just getting started. Please give us a thumbs up if you like the program. Give us a thumbs down if you don't like the program. Father Francisco Ribera wrote a book in the 16th century that invented the rapture doctrine that you know, invented the second or third temple doctrine that you know, invented the second coming doctrine that you know, invented the mark of the beast doctrine that you know, invented the trials, the great tribulation period that you know, invented Jerusalem coming back onto the earth that you know. Every single bit of what you call end time prophecy was invented by the Jesuits. Every word that comes out of the mouth of these people on YouTube preaching prophecy to you is Jesuit. The Jesuits invented it. It did not exist until the Jesuits made it up. And I dare one of these people to call me up and debate me on it. They won't. I've been begging for 4 years. None of them will do it. Think about that. Every single thing you talk about in prophecy, all of it was invented by the Jesuits. And guess who the Jesuits were? Communists. Guess who the Jesuits are now today? Communists. They are the ones that brought us and still espouse liberation theology. Pope Francis, Jesuit, communist, liberation theologian. BLM, Jesuit, communist, liberation theologians. Antifa, Jesuit, communist, liberation theologians. All of them are Jesuit. All of them are communist. All of them are liberation theologians. And here you are as Christians. Here you are as Christians supporting this idea of Bible prophecy, praying for Bible prophecy, hoping for Bible prophecy, manifesting with all you have Bible prophecy. And you are so stupid. We are so stupid that we've allowed ourselves to be fooled, not me anymore, but you still, into supporting something that we think is prophecy when it's really scripted prophecy, and it's Jesuit, it's communist, and they are lulling us to sleep to root and cheer and welcome a communist takeover of the United States of America. What does this mean? What does it make to be true without a question of a doubt? Modern, evangelical, prophecy-based Christianity is a communist Trojan horse in the United States of America. And let me help some of you that aren't great at history. Let me help some of you that don't history much. What's the Trojan horse? Well, they had a war, and we won't get into the specifics. They had a war, and this one place was trying to take over this other place, and they couldn't get inside this other city because it had a big wall. So what they did was they said, hey, we're gonna send you this. They sent them this present, this really cool-looking horse. Isn't that a cool-looking horse? And these people said, oh, that's nice. They sent us a present. So they brought the cool-looking horse inside their city, and they set it in the town square, and oh, look at that horse. It's so cool. And then they all got drunk because their enemies were making peace with them. And then they all went into their houses and started doing what you do when you're drunk. And then they all went to sleep. And while they were all sleeping, there were dudes inside this horse. And these dudes opened up a trap door. And these dudes came out of that horse. And they went and they killed everybody. They killed everybody. Modern evangelical prophecy-based Christianity is a communist Trojan horse in the United States of America. Look at the seals of Revelation one more time. Let's look at the seals of Revelation one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at them piece by piece. I should have done this an easier way. Communist ruler going forth conquering and to conquer. Because of the rise of communist revolution, there's war and bloodshed. Because of the communist revolution and the war and bloodshed that is resulting of it, we begin to have famine because there's no one left to plow the fields. They're all being killed. And then when we have war and we have bloodshed and we have famine, then we have disease. And then we have beast eating people because the beasts ain't got nothing to eat. And after the conquering, after the war, after the famine, after the disease, and oh yeah, by the way, what did they bring with them? They brought with them a dosum whist, a stupid 19, a pandemic, a controller virus. Then you have people killed that won't go along with the program. They want you to think that they're going to kill Christians who won't go along with the program, when it's going to be the Christians in support of their fairy tale prophecy that are supporting the killing of people like me. There's people right now listening to me that would be all for shooting me right now. There's people right now listening to me across this world that would be willing, ready, and able to watch me killed and would help people do it. You want me? You better bring a lunch because it's going to take a while, and you better be ready to go the whole route. Communist revolution, bloodshed, war, famine, disease, people being killed that won't go along with the program, a whole power structure being overthrown. They want us to believe it's Satan. You know what Satan means in the original Hebrew and the Greek that was translated into? It means adversary. What this is the adversary of communism, which is me. I'm the adversary of communism. I will never bow my knee. I will never, ever raise your red flag. I am the enemy of communism. And they will have to cast me down and bury me under dirt before I will ever stop or give up the fight for this great country. And then they have, after they've cast us down and destroyed us, they take over and there's nobody left to help you. If you don't figure it out, right now, here's where we are. You see communism rising. You've got a chance to figure it out. Now you're kind of also starting to see the bloodshed. There's still time for you to figure it out. There's some famine that's beginning in the world and in the United States. There's still some time for you to figure it out. We got the dosum whist. We got the stupid 19. We got the plandemic. We got the control of virus. They're halfway through this takeover, but there's still some time for you to figure it out. This comes next. I may not be around long enough to wake your stupid ass up if you don't wake up and smell the coffee. You had 4 cups of coffee. You should be able to wakey eggs and bakey by now. Some of us are going to fall under this. Some of us are going to fall under that persecution of this communist rise. Even when President Trump puts it down, there's a possibility that some of us will fall. But if you let it get here and you let them take me out and you let them take out the rest of the patriots, which they can't do, this is what they hope, and this is their earmuffs. This is their wet dream. It can't happen. It won't happen because, you know, they've done good up to here. They got to number 4, no problem. But number 5, if you're going to make skulls out of our heads, that means you got to kill us first. Do you have any idea how many guns we got? Do you have any idea how much ammo we got? Do you have any idea of the body armor we got? Do you have any idea of the stores we got? Do you have any idea of how motivated we are? You think that you're going to be able to persecute us and kill us. You think you're going to be able to cast us down. And you think you're going to be able to march in and take over. In the immortal words of that great Western philosopher, Doc Holliday, I'm your Huckleberry. Say when. That's just my game. Say when. That's just my game. And in the words of that other great American philosopher from the West, but a few years later, Dirty Harry, go ahead, make my day. You feel lucky, punk? How lucky do you feel, punk? How lucky do you feel, BLM punk? How lucky do you feel, Antifa punk? You just going to stand there and bleed? Skin that smoke wagon. They're going to be just like Billy Bob Thornton. They are Billy Bob Thornton. You got to watch the Billy Bob Thornton segment in Tombstone. Not now, but right after this show. Watch it. He goes in there. Kurt Russell goes into the saloon, Wyatt Earp, and here's Billy Bob Thornton over there running a game, and he's cussing at people. He's slapping people. He's the big bully, just like these bullies out on the street. Antifa, BLM, and all of you that support him are just a bunch of big bullies and sissies too. And then he looks up at Kurt Russell and he says, what are you looking at? And Kurt Russell says, you're sitting in my chair. All you BLMs that are out there burning my cities, you're sitting in my chair. All you Antifas that are out there burning my cities, you're sitting in my chair. All you communists that are out there making people wear masks, you're sitting in my chair. All you communists that are out there closing businesses, you're sitting in my chair. And then Billy Bob Thornton says, is that right? And he jumps up. And Kurt Russell slaps him. Kurt Russell ain't got a gun. He slaps him. And then he slaps him again, and he's bleeding. And Kurt Russell says to him, are you just going to stand there and bleed? Smoke that smoke wagon. That's what's going to happen when we come face to face, with these Antifa cowards, these Black Lives Matter cowards, and all their supporters. If you support Black Lives Matter in any way, shape, or form, you, sir, you, ma'am, are a coward. If you support Antifa in any way, shape, or form, you, sir, you, madam, are a coward. And you're a communist, and you're stupid. And you're either going to stop or we're going to stop you. It's that simple. It's that simple. So we looked again at the 7 seals. I think you get the idea that this is a communist forecast. We looked again at the 7 seals one more time. We've been shown how to beat this communist insurrection. We've been shown how to beat this communist insurrection. There was a nation that was decimated at the end of World War I, and communists were taking over the nation. And the nation stood up and said, no more. And this great nation of Germany stood up and said, no more. In 1933, they stood up and said, no more. And they systematically threw out the banksters. They systematically overthrew the communists. They systematically threw out the Rothschilds. They systematically threw out the central banks. They systematically threw out the controlled media, the controlled money, the controlled entertainment. They systematically threw them out. And we have seen and we know it's been shown clearly step by step how to beat them. And it has succeeded the only time that it's ever been tried. The whole world came against that nation and was able to defeat them. This ain't 1939 anymore. This is 2020. And if you think that you can cobble together your Chinese and your Iranians and your other communists, if you think you can cobble them together and you can come against us after we kick you all out of here like you did against Germany in 1939, good luck. We're going to do what they did, and we're going to take our country back. And we're going to end this communist menace, not only in this country, but with our brothers and sisters across the world. And if the world thinks they can get together and turn on us, we're your huckleberries. Red, white, blue, waiting for you. Let the world turn on us if they dare. If you communists feel you've been mistreated, jump to the chest of the red, white, and blue and be defeated. You have made a mistake. You pissed off the people that wanted nothing more than to be left alone. You done pissed us off. And you've got a choice. Shut up and go away, or reap the whirlwind with hell to pay. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is Late Night in the Heartland. Don't tread on me. And in case you wonder where I'm coming from, let me throw something up to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from. Do you got it now? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I'm coming in the spirit of 1776, and I'm coming with a rebel yell. Both of these flags were made by people that stood up to tyranny. These people stood up to tyranny 4,000 miles away. These people stood up to tyranny 400 miles away. We're standing up to tyranny right in our own neighborhoods. And the same red American blood that fueled these great patriots fuels this great patriot and these great patriots here. The great listeners on WBCQ on 7.490 megahertz and 6.160 megahertz. The great subscribers on the Christian Whistleblower channel, please subscribe. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Right after this break, we are going to open up the phone lines, and they will be open for your calls, ladies and gentlemen. Right after this break, they will be open for your calls. Please do not call until after the break, but after the break, it will be open for your calls, and we look forward to having you share your thoughts, share your views. There's only a few rules. Number one, be polite. Number two, be interesting. Number three, have a take and don't suck. That's all you have to do. And we welcome you to be a part of the program right after this message from my great sponsor. And just until until midnight, about another hour, there's a great sale from this great provider. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and I'll be right back. Come on.
My Daily Choice brings together the house of brands so you can market a diversified portfolio of products and capitalize on the newest trends in the hottest industries. Instead of being locked into just one industry, you get to participate in all of them. Starting with Hempworx, one of the most popular brands in the booming CBD industry. From farm to extraction to bottling, Hempworx puts a premium line of hemp oil, topicals, hair and skincare, and lifestyle products in your hands. Then there's Mantra Essential Oils, the soul-enriching line of essential oils, essential oil blends, and botanical fragrances that give your customers a variety of ways to align their senses and enhance their health and wellness routines. For those who can't sit still, there's High Life Travel, the members-only travel booking portal with deeper discounts than the major booking sites. High Life Travel actually pays every time you or your preferred customers book flights, hotels, rental cars, homes, and experiences in the world's most desirable locations. Daily Sprays, the pocket-sized sprays that nourish the body with a concentrated dose of nutrients. Daily Sprays blend the best of technology and nutrition to equip your business with a simple yet potent line of effective supplements. And finally, Akashics is the ultimate cryptocurrency learning tool with comprehensive lessons for every level of expertise. It is an all-in-one solution that includes digibank, in-depth market research, economic calendars, signals, and social trading. Discover all of the exciting products and business opportunities available to you with My Daily Choice and become an affiliate today.
That's My Daily Choice. If you'd just like to get those products, I know many of you use them. Please help me help you. Go to whistleblowercbd.com. You can purchase any of those products through me. You're going to use them anyway. And you can help me spread this message of unindoctrination. If you're looking for a way to flourish and prosper, if you're looking for a way to build your dreams and not just somebody else's, there's also a great opportunity for you to become an affiliate and help me help you help other people and help you and me and them. It's really, really cool. CBD is a great, great product. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are opening up the phone lines. We're opening up the phone lines. If you are listening on WBCQ and you call in, please tell me you're listening from WBCQ. If you're listening from anything other than YouTube, please let me know where you're listening from, because we do have to make some decisions of where we're going to stay, and we want to make sure that we are getting the best and using the great help from everybody that helps out. And you paid for the I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. You paid for the shortwave last month, and I appreciate it. Here's a great $20 donation from Connie. She wants the book. I'll get that out to you tomorrow, Connie. I have to go to the store anyway, or to the post office anyway. I appreciate it so very much. And if you want to give, you can go right here to paypal.me/Jeffrey Daugherty for a Super Pal chat, or just go to jeffreydaugherty.com and hit the donate button. And now here's our first caller. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, this is Gramerica.
Gramerica, what's up, my friend?
I just wanted to say great video so far.
Thank you.
Awesome. Straight on, man. I think, we see the left do this in everything that they do, is that they brag before it happens.
They do. Why do you think they do? Why do you think they brag? Why do you think they forecast?
I think it is. I think that's why it's forecasting. I think that they have to do that to almost get off on it. You know what I mean? It's part of them just bragging about it before it happens. Do
you think it's part of natural law that they've got to tell us what they're doing?
I think it's a part of the ego thing. Like, hey, we told you so. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean?
Okay. You may be right. I've always wondered why they do it, and that's great thoughts. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, to go with that, I saw a post on Twitter. I don't remember who posted it. I retweeted it. That last year there was a contestant on some drag queen runway show. Their name was COVID, spelled with a K, and part of their costume they were wearing a mask.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. I retweeted it. My handle is Washington V276. So somebody wants to look that up.
Washington V276. Okay, so they had a drag queen named COVID wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Well, it was with a K, but still, it's the same thing, obviously.
Right.
In sound. Yeah, it's just amazing. And there's so many. I know of multiple TV shows, including the show Supernatural, which is the only thing that I watch. And we don't have a TV, but we watch it off of, I guess it's on one of the streaming services. And they even predicted a disease and what's going on. And it's just crazy. So it's a lot of predictive prophecy. Now, one thing I will say, as a writer, I've written 15 books, that sometimes there's ideas in the ether when these things are being planned. And many times writers will pull them out thinking it's an original idea, not knowing any better, and make a movie about it. So it's not always predictive programming, but many times I think it is.
Right. I'm also an author. I've written 4 books. So
well, good for you. So you know what I'm talking about. I think we talked about that before, didn't we?
Yeah, I was an anthropology major and folklore and whatnot.
Well, listen, I really appreciate it. Do you have anything else to share with us tonight?
Yeah, the only thing else that I was going to say is that I think they severely underestimate the amount of people that are just plain pissed off about the whole situation right now. I keep seeing on different news websites on Twitter, they'll post, things about COVID, and the majority of people are starting to get pissed off, especially about the mask mandates.
We're starting to see more and more everyday Americans say enough is enough. And I think it's just getting started. And my beautiful wife said they really messed up when they pissed off the people that just wanted to be left alone. And exactly. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't unring the bell. And it's just going to get worse from here for them and better for here from us. I still fully expect the world to be better than it's ever been, sooner than any of us can even imagine. What else do you have on your mind?
That's it, man. Just thank you for having a great show so far, and have a good one.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much for calling in. Don't let it be your last time. And Thank you for holding. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. It's Joe.
Hello, Joe Sapiens. Tell us what's on your mind tonight.
So I got in a bit of an awkward moment in the family, and I had you playing in the background, and they did not take it well. And what I told them is that dare I say the word Christianity, I've got to point it out for what it is. Christianity is a two-party system.
Ooh, it is, Joe. I never saw that. It is a two-party system. Catholics, Protestants.
So, well, it's not just that, it's demons and Democrat and the good side, physical good side of God. And what I told my family was, if you are to truly understand the reality of the situation, then you must understand contrast, not adherence to a single idea. It is to surrender yourself, to make yourself a slave,
Yes,
to a teaching or a belief that makes it so that a belief will always rule you.
100% true, Joe. That's just fantastic. That was very well put. Do you have anything else for us tonight?
Yeah, never be afraid to test the object of your belief, even if you have to become a prodigal son, as they say, and partake of the dark side, the forbidden, the decadent, the earthly things. Cannot understand the things of the other side, will give those who intend you harm, and it will be an opportunity to exploit your ignorance for their advantage. This is the benefit of the whole fruit of the knowledge of good and evil.
Joe Sapiens, ladies and gentlemen. Powerful, powerful messages. Don't be afraid to test your beliefs, even if you're going into something that is called forbidden. Be bold. Be courageous. There's nothing remarkable in your comfort zone. Get outside your comfort zone if you want the remarkable. Thank you for holding. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey, how you doing? This is Super Galactic.
Hey, Super Galactic, what's on your mind tonight?
You know, I totally agree with you. Christians think they're going to be the ones being persecuted. But I think you're right. I think it's going to be them doing the persecuting, because just look how they did the Native Americans. You know, they came into their countries acting like, oh, we're good friends. We'll get along. Let's live together. And then when it got right down to it, they killed them all and took over their land. But no, they don't want to talk about that, though.
And Super Galactic, they don't want to talk about the fact that the way Christianity was built was that the priests would follow they would precede the Roman legions, and they would say to the people, those of you that want to convert, you get to live. Those of you that don't want to convert, these guys are coming with swords and they're going to kill you. That's a pretty powerful evangelistic message.
Yeah, really. And it's like that, what you post on YouTube. Obey the church or go to hell, or obey the school system or you will fail, or obey the justice system or you'll go to jail.
Yep.
It's all about obey the system. And I've said this all the time. We've got to unplug ourselves from the matrix and stop supporting this damn system called Christianity.
Absolutely. And we've got to stop wearing the masks. We've got to stop closing our businesses. And we've got to stand up and be counted. And I'm sorry, I know, and I'm on this, it's a hobby horse right now. My favorite team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, won the Stanley Cup this year. And I didn't watch 1 second of it because they did the BLM bullshit and the Antifa bullshit. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have Tom Brady. They're doing better than they've done in years. And I'm not watching them because the BLM bullshit, because the Antifa bullshit, because I have some convictions. And if you think that you're going to stand strong for your convictions, and if you think you're going to stand strong when things get hard, and you won't even turn off the NFL, come on, bruh.
Yeah, and it just ain't the NFL, it's the news media, it's the music, entertainment industry, it's everything. I just turn the damn TV off and just listen to you, because you're the only one that calls out these Christians for who they really are, because they are hypocrites. They'll sit there and still watch the NFL knowing how they support Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Have some integrity, Christians. Take a stand.
Absolutely. I will not watch them as long as they continue to kneel, and as long as they continue to have those slogans on their field, and as long as they're supporting the communist Marxist Black Lives Matter, the communist Marxist Antifa, and as long as they are bringing disrepute upon our service members and our law enforcement officers. They're not all good, but the majority of them are. Anything else on your mind?
Yeah, I just wish people would come together. I like how you and Pharaoh have a good relationship. That's what it's all about.
It is.
Getting the blacks, getting the Hispanics, getting the white. Let us all come together as one and live in peace amongst each other. And, you know, we can make it if we do that, because I really believe that if Martin Luther King was still alive, he'd be pissed off about Black Lives Matter and Antifa. I mean, all these people think they know all about Martin Luther King, but all they're doing is just tarnishing him and what he really stood for.
You know, Martin Luther King had some good talk, but his walk didn't really measure up. But we're not talking about Martin Luther King tonight. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you. And there's many honorable black people, there's many honorable white people, and there's a bunch of stupid black people and a bunch of stupid white people. And we gotta just back the stupids down and let the smart people take over. Thank you for holding. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, it's Laugh Dancer.
It is Laugh Dancer. What's up? What's up with you? I'm sorry, I was reading a comment.
Yeah, so about Christianity, if you want to see a really interesting movie, I know you're a fan of Mads Mikkelsen from Hannibal.
Absolutely, he's a great actor.
So Valhalla Rising, he made it in 2009.
I saw it. What an incredible movie.
Okay. I just love him. Anyway, and about what you were saying about why do they tell what's happening? Why do they give information before they go through with it?
Right.
I think there's maybe more than one reason.
I think you're right.
I think one of the reasons, tell me if I'm wrong, and I just don't even have, the only information I can get this from is the ether, I'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place I can get that information, this specific information I'm going to say, which is there's probably some sort of deal that they made, like sackless, they had to do it. Like they have to.
Yeah, I think there may be. I think it may be a dictate of natural law, and it's also them giving themselves plausible deniability. Natural law may demand that they do let us know what they're doing so that we can see it. And plausible deniability basically means we told these stupid bitches what we were doing. It's not our fault if they didn't see it.
And also, it's a feedback loop. Like, look at how many ways they spy on the human population. Look at how many ways that they have. They've legislated them, and now Trump is using those same legislative maneuvers to take them down.
Absolutely.
So, because is it going to stand up in a court of law to say that he's got remote viewers? No. Not. But it is going to stand up in a court of law to say, here's the records of your conversations. It's all been recorded.
Yeah. And I think this goes beyond a court of law. The president is building a great case, a just case, a case that is true beyond any imagining, but it's going to end up coming down to Insurrection Act. It's going to end up coming down to actually having to make some tough decisions, because this is a communist revolution and they can't be negotiated with. They've got to be defeated. Thank you so much for the great call. And I think you're right on. Thank you for holding. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
So I got a fun factoid about Donald Trump.
Okay.
Back in the 80s, he was helping Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson get Black Wall Street rebooted.
What is Black Wall Street, by the way? Tell everybody what Black Wall Street is.
Oh, well, back in the 20s, 1921 is when it was destroyed. From actually 1890 to 1921, black folks, after we was freed, we went and built our own shit.
Yeah.
We went and built our own. We in New York freaked out because our industry and our economy was just about to topple there. And they came and bombed it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Delaney Pearl Jones.
I know who this is. So, so Donald Trump was helping Sharpton and Jackson try to reboot Black Wall Street.
Yeah, and guess what they did? They pulled a Bernie Madoff and robbed all the investors.
That's because he was dealing with Sharpton and Jackson.
Jesse Jackson Jr. is in Fed prison next to Bernie Madoff.
Well, good for him. That's where they both belong.
Well, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson Daddy needs to be there too.
They do, absolutely. They do.
The Jesuit bastards. You remember that day you did the rods?
Say it again?
You remember when you did the rods and asked if Sharpton was a Jesuit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was a great show. That was great.
So, I mean, Donald Trump has always been trying to help out, any person that wants to help themselves and work hard and make something. And it's unfortunate that those two did him that way. But Delaney, I really appreciate the call. That's a great one. As usual, feel free to call back anytime. Thank you for holding on. It's Late Night in the Heartland. Please turn down your radio and tell me what's on your mind.
Great one. As usual, feel free to call back anytime.
Turn down your radio and tell me what's on your mind. Gee, money Christmas. Come on. If you're going to call in, you can't have that thing so loud. It's Late Night in the Heartland, and you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, this is Steven.
Hey, what's up, my friend?
I just saw that one of the people that they got an affidavit from, Dr. Nevid Keshna Barzania, back in September, the New York Times did a glowing report on him, quoting one of the interviewees as was one of the smartest people in the room.
Okay. I guess I'm missing your point. What's your point?
Well, the point is that I would suspect it would be a little bit more difficult to
backtrack something that they just said not but 2-3 months ago about something that they did a glowing review on, whom he, in affidavit, said, and I quote, "I conclude with high confidence that the election data were altered in battleground states, resulting in hundreds of thousands of votes cast altered to Joe Biden. These alterations were the result of systemic and widespread exploitable vulnerabilities."
I think you're 100% right. Thank you for pointing that out. There's a growing mountain of evidence, and it can't be denied. And thank you for calling in and pointing that out. Thanks for holding your live with Jeffrey Daugherty. It's Late Night in the Heartland.
Hey, Jeff, I'm glad to be home and getting some indoctrination. Finally got home there Saturday to deal with the communists when they wouldn't let me board the plane.
Terrible. I'm glad you're back for some more unindoctrination.
Oh, yeah, I've been a week without it, so definitely glad to be here. Yeah, so basically what happened was I was boarding my plane, and they said I couldn't wear my mask. I had to wear the diaper, the blue diaper there that you have to wear, even though it says nowhere on their website. It says face covering and mask. So it's basically right on their website. It's basically.
So you were wearing some type of a face covering, but they said, no, you've got to put this one on?
That's right. I was wearing an SA. It's like sort of like, in the winter where you put like a face covering up.
Yeah.
It's more for like the summer. And they said, no, that's not good enough. I'm like, okay. So then I had to pay for my bag. So then she's like, well, you can give us $2 for one. I said, I have 4 perfectly fine masks here. Why would I pay $2? I have no problems paying for my bags, but I'm not going to pay another $2 for a mask. So I get security. I'm calling the police because this is against your human rights. You can't I'm wearing a mask, right? So security comes over like, oh, no problem, sir, we'll go get you one. So they bring me one over. So I put on the stupid blue little mask there, the diaper looking thing, put it on. And the lady was like, no, you're still not going on the plane. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I did what you told me to do. They're like, well, yeah, but you're the way you're acting and all this stuff. And I was like, just excuses. And I was just livid. My mom was calling me during the week. My dad was really bad. So I needed to get home to help him. And I'm just losing it here. And the police are there.
And these stupid little people making no money. Oh, they got a shitty job. They got no friends, and they got no power. So they got to try to take it out on someone that's actually standing up for something. It's so horrible.
I know, and I was trying to, can I speak to the manager? Of course, she was the manager. So I really couldn't really do anything. The police didn't do anything. The RCMP were like, well, we can't do anything. Security, at least they helped me out a bit. So I was basically stuck there. I'd prepaid for everything, even prepaid for my bags the night before. Moving all my stuff out from storage, shipping it back out east. So I was pretty much tapped out. So I was pretty much screwed, and that's why I contacted customer service. They couldn't do anything for me. Contacted Expedia. They couldn't do anything for me. Even contacted Global News and a lawyer. They really didn't do much for me. So luckily, I met this lady at the airport. She let me crash at her place for the week on her couch until I got paid on Friday. I didn't get paid enough. They made a mistake with my vacation pay, so I actually had to go the next day to Money Mart to get a loan. So I just had enough money to fly back Air Canada on Saturday. So it was a real crazy last week. So
oh my!
Stand up for our rights, and I was in there just talking to my mom on my cell, letting her know what was going on, and yelling, not yelling, but talking how I'm going for because when I found my birth certificate, I'm going into the reserves on the 7th, and I'm just saying I'm going to be fighting for this country. This is ridiculous. I'm in a communist. And then the police is like, well, you're a little loud, sir. I'm I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, this is really
good for you.
I was just so upset. I was so furious, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know what if I would have stayed there. I don't know what.
Well, good happen. For you.
No, this is not where I want my country or North America to end up. My relatives, my brothers in the army, still in the army. My descendant, Captain Michael Grass, came from the U.S. and founded Kingston, Ontario, and I don't want to go down like that. I'm going to fight and go down with, and then I'm stand up for our rights as a country. Like I didn't grow up like this. I don't want my niece and nephew to grow up like this. My niece just celebrated her 13th birthday yesterday, and I don't want her and my nephew to grow up in a kind of communist country. So
I'm so glad to hear. So proud of you for doing that. I know that it cost you a good deal. You paid a price, but I really do appreciate you, and you're an inspiration to the rest of us. Thank you for holding on. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey.
Hello. What's on your mind?
Jeffrey?
Yes, sir.
No way. This is Darwin.
Nice to hear you.
I got a really, really hard question to ask you here.
All righty.
I want to know that maybe like a bunch of people like me were trying to wonder if Trump might be a psyop.
Have you ever sat down and read, and it's not a big read, have you ever sat down and read the executive orders that Donald Trump has issued since he got into office?
I don't.
Do that and then ask yourself that question again, and you'll realize that it's a borderline preposterous question. And wait another 30 to 60 days, and you won't have any question left in your mind. Donald Trump gave up a multi-billionaire lifestyle for America. Joe Biden gave up America for a billionaire lifestyle. Never forget that. Donald Trump has been working and helping and fighting for this nation for a lot of years, and he's just getting started. He's got more guts than Ron Paul did. He's got more guts than Ross Perot did, and he's got more balls too. He did it. He won it, and he's not about to let it go, and he's not even taken his salary. That's how great a man he is. Probably the greatest American, or one of the greatest Americans since George Washington. And George Washington led the first American Revolution, and Donald Trump is leading the second American Revolution. And the president of Brazil has said some very interesting things lately. The president of Brazil, and I'm going to take a look at Brazil. I mean, it's got to be a pretty good country right now when you've got a president there that says, I'm not taking any viruses, or I'm sorry, I'm not taking any vaccines, and neither should you. And today he said that he is sure and that he has proof that the American presidential election was false, phony, and fraudulent. That's what the great president of Brazil has had to say here in the last couple of days. Tracy Dyer's aunt and uncle lived in Brazil for 18 months. I've had several friends from Brazil, and I salute the great president of that great nation, and I thank him for standing strong. And as James says, he does sound like a great president. The phone line is open. It's 913-279-0831. They're actually lines. You can call in. You'll hear welcome to the Christian Whistleblower. Hit 0. That'll put you right through to me. If you call in and you hear music, that means that you are on hold. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, boys and girls, cousins of all ages, I want to remind you that we've got a great Twitter, and Twitter is a place that a lot of people like to comment. It's a place a lot of people like to share information. This is my Twitter, the Christian Whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You can see we have just about 100,000 subscribers. And we're also broadcasting this live over Twitter. Let me go ahead and pin that to my profile while I'm here. And it's a great place to go and find information like this. It's required to tabulate and store the results in a cast vote record along with a human readable image of the ballot that has been scanned. Failed to properly verify absentee ballots to maintain records as necessary to conduct an audit. They are violating election laws left and right. It will not be allowed to stand. And folks, even in the midst of this coup, even in the midst of this stupid 19, even in the midst of this pandemic, this control of virus, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, that's the stock market, it's set for its best November since 1928. What Obama and Biden couldn't do with everybody on their side, Donald Trump is doing with everybody against him. And in case you're wondering, Trump did win. I agree with the great lawyer Lynn Wood. And here's that quote. Trump gave up a billionaire lifestyle for America. Biden gave up America for a billionaire lifestyle. Arizona representative calls to withhold the state's electoral colleges to Joe Biden during a significant evidence of fraud, due to significant evidence of fraud. Folks, it doesn't matter what happens with these recounts or no recounts. It doesn't matter what happens. What we're trying to do is get to December 14th, and then we want to turn it over to the states. Because the state legislators, they see what's going on. And just like these folks in Arizona, they are not going to give the electoral votes of their great state to a candidate that they know stole them. And Arizona is not alone in this, ladies and gentlemen. We can't trust the crooked, complicit governors. We can't trust the crooked, complicit, appointed deep state rats that run the Secretary of State's office and various voter and electoral offices. But we still have enough great men and women within the Senate, within the House of Representatives of the several states that love their country and will stand against this monstrosity, this travesty, and they will not let it happen. I could play you this, but I don't want to get a strike. This is during the Arizona hearings. Are you willing to say under oath that you've seen the connection to the internet? Voting machines are not allowed to be connected to the internet. And that you saw it go offshore to Frankfurt, Germany. The response is yes. Folks, it's a travesty. It's a sham. It's a mockery. It's a Travis shamokery. And you know our great president will get to the bottom of it. It's late night in the heartland. Thank you for holding your live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, this is White Bear. I've never called into a talk show before, but...
Well, it's my honor. Thank you for calling.
Well, I was... my daughter sent me a link on a website, and I thought it was pretty funny that Pope Francis just announced that you can't get to heaven if you don't take the beer bug vaccine.
He did not, did he really?
Yeah, it's on the web.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so I guess their cartoon character has to take a back seat.
Wow, that's for sure. That is the craziest thing. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to look for that. Yeah. And my goodness, how silly is that, huh?
Yeah, I went to the it's on my phone.
Yeah, make sure it wasn't the Babylon Bee. That's a satire site. Is it? It's a satire site, but there's probably not too far off. But yeah, just make sure that when you see Babylon Bee, it's satire. But thank you for calling. That's a great call. Thank you for pointing that out. And I just wanted to, again, we'll continue to look here just for a moment at the Twitter, because I like to, it's very easy for me to put the things that I want to talk about in between calls up here. California, ladies and gentlemen, remember when I said before this election that President Trump was probably going to flip California or New York or possibly both? We have people call in almost nightly from California saying, I know we won. There was great enthusiasm for Donald Trump. I talked. Everybody says that they voted for Trump. And this, we have it on Twitter here that we've got confirmation of that. We've got supporting evidence. I think Donald Trump won California, and we need to audit all of the votes in all of the states because he won over 400 electoral votes. Thank you for holding. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jason from Philly again. How are you?
Hey, Jason from Philly. I'm glad that you called in. What's on your mind?
Well, I just heard, I was listening to your show, enjoying it like always, and I heard that guy call in that mentioned that Trump was a psyop, and I just had to call in. I mean, you kind of, high level approached it and answered his,
right.
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, you look at everything Trump did. He put a target on his head, on his family's head. He gave up billions of dollars to run. There's the interview when he was on Oprah in '88, and he said he didn't even think of running, but he was sick of the way the country was being taken down a dark path and losing and everything we did. And then, like you said, you look at the executive orders. I mean, the first one he did when he got in was to seize the assets of anyone involved in human trafficking.
That was his first executive order.
That was his first executive order. So right away, he already had this picture and this whole plan laid out. So you just look at everything he's done. I mean, when he went to Davos and he pretty much told Soros and the rest of the globalists, the United States will never be under socialist rule and we will never be part of.
And remember, he said that in his State of the Union address too. The United States will never be a socialist country.
Absolutely, he didn't, and absolutely right. And if people look at his inauguration speech, he laid everything out there.
He really did.
He did. And
did you see the faces behind him? The ex-presidents, the members of Congress and the Senate, they were hating every minute of it.
Oh, they were standing there. They were sitting down and couldn't believe what he was saying. He was standing there and saying this in front of them. And I'm listening to the speech and I couldn't believe my ears. I'm like, this dude has brass ones. I mean, and he's the best president in my lifetime without question. But I will say this, Jeff, it got me thinking where maybe that gentleman's head is at is the 1% that I know Trump's intentions are 100% good. He's proven that. He's earned that trust. But if the swamp and these globalist scumbags are even deeper and more powerful than we ever imagined, is there a possibility that they are letting Trump pull everything out of the shadows? This is just the 1% scenario, because I think of everything. I war game all this stuff out. And the fact that half this country, or not even half, but 30% legitimately hates him so much that they would voluntarily be willing to accept a one world order government just to spite Trump. And that's why they would actually vote for Biden. They would get behind Kamala Harris. They would get behind the squad and all these radical progressive communists, almost because they hate Trump that much. And then if they steal the election with Biden and we do go to the NWO, they turn around and say, well, the people voted for it. You voted for it. So you wonder if they are actually using the lightning rod that Trump is providing as a way to usher all of this in and then show us what we voted for. Again, that's the 1%. I think we have this in the bag. When I called last week, I told you that I thought we were watching a movie, and I think it's even more prevalent now when you see Biden with the broken leg or the fractured ankle, because he'll have a boot on.
Yeah.
And he'll be tracked the way McCain and Hillary were. But I just had to call in, loving your show as always. And that guy just prompted me. I said, no, this is absurd.
I'll never say no, that's out of the question. It is something that we do need to consider, and it helps us to war game. I agree with you. I don't think that that's a possibility, but it is certainly something worth mentioning, and thank you for bringing it to our attention. We are indebted to you. Thanks so much. It's Late Night in the Heartland, and you are live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hello, Jeff. It's Jamie from North Carolina.
Hey, Jamie, what's on your mind tonight?
I just got a quick question for you.
Okay.
Do you remember watching the video of Senior Bush's funeral? What do you think all those people got in their folder, in that envelope?
I don't know what they got, but all you have to do is see the look on Jeb Bush's face, the look on Laura Bush's face, the look on Hillary's face, to know that whatever they got wasn't good. And I hear that the Pences also got an envelope. They played a little more poker faced, but I have to be frank with you. I haven't given it a whole lot of thought, and I don't even really have any speculation of what they got unless they received, a little condensed version of a portion of the dirt that President Trump might have on them. I would only be speculating. I really don't know. What do you think they got?
Oh, I don't know. That's why I had to call you, because just the look on their faces was like, excuse my language, cover your Trojan ears. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Exactly. I mean, not George Bush, but Jeb Bush.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and Laura Bush looked like she was going to kill somebody. And Tracy Dyer is speculating it had to be a picture of something. Maybe so. That's a good point, because it didn't have to be red. If you remember, Jeb just looked at it, glanced at it. Laura Bush just glanced at it. Yep, they just glanced at it. I agree with Dan. Dan is weighing in saying compromising photos. Dan and Tracy, I think, are on it. It must have been compromising photos. I would agree with it. It's the most thought I've ever given this subject, but just thinking again how quickly Jeb and Laura reacted, it had to be something that was a visual, at least a visual.
Exactly. And what I get out of the whole thing is, I think this was the start of them going after President Trump like they did.
Yeah, probably so.
It was like we're going to go after him with both barrels, because they knew that it was going to end.
Yeah. And it shows their carelessness and their overreaction. And, we mentioned earlier, somebody mentioned the show Hannibal. And there was a time in that show where Hannibal Lecter, he was unbeknownst yet in the show who he was, they were going to get this serial killer. And Hannibal Lecter called the serial killer up, and the serial killer answered, and Hannibal Lecter said, "They know." So maybe it was something like that on the letter. They know. Oh, shit. Or it's a picture. That's really, really good. This is what this show is about. People weighing in with excellent information like this. Somebody says maybe it was the truth about JFK.
You just never know.
You never know. What else is on your mind?
I would love to know, though.
I would too. We will one of these days before President Trump leaves office. I have a feeling we'll know.
All right. Well, Jeffrey, I appreciate your show. I watch it every night.
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And folks, we're going to take another quick break. We'll come back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll scream up to the top of the hour with your calls. This is Late Night in the Heartland. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I am also your mailman, bringing you the mail, rain, snow, sleet, dark of night, no matter what. We're here to bring it to you. Enjoy this word from our sponsor, and I'll be right back, and we will speed through until 12 o'clock. Remember, still 10% off at, I'm trying to remember it, whistleblowercbd.com. I'll be right back.
Clayton and I met in 2008. We had a mutual interest in consciousness, the evolution of consciousness, both individually and for organizations.
We'd encountered an inventor who had been working on a free energy device for about 7 years before I met him. And he worked together with a small team, and they didn't create a free energy device, but they stumbled upon a way to focus life force energy on a small location or an object. We combined our backgrounds. Jeff has a manufacturing and engineering background with his companies. And I have a kinesiology background as well as a coaching background. So we combined these two backgrounds to create the service that you're able to enjoy today. We worked on supporting the planet in 2011 to rise in consciousness as much as possible when we first started experimenting with the technology together. Over that year, we refined it quite a bit. We did many global service projects which still run today. And that was the beginning of the service. It was actually intended just to help humanity.
And at the end of 2012, we celebrated. You know, we did the work. We helped to raise consciousness, we thought, and helped to support the transition that many people felt was coming in 2012. And then we started the company as a way for people to take this technology, this way of raising consciousness, and use it themselves in their own homes, and to also benefit the entire planet by having more and more people on the service. And our mission of FLFE, as we started the business, is to support the optimal conditions for the evolution of consciousness in an economized society, which means working and holding a job and being a householder, so to speak. And for us, rising in consciousness, supporting that evolution in consciousness, is really supporting increased freedom. That as we rise in consciousness, we see it as increased freedom, you know, freedom to live our dream, to be all that we can be, to be free financially, to be free health, and to be free from limiting thoughts and beliefs or maybe patterns of behavior that we'd like to move away from.
That's Focus Life Force Energy. Cynthia and I are never without it. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Fluffy logo. They're a great company run by great people. And you remember Fluffy has always been one of my sponsors ever since we had sponsors. And you remember we also had a bracelet company that we were working with. We don't do that anymore. But, ladies and gentlemen, what if you could combine the power of Fluffy type technology and bracelet type technology? Keep your ear to the ground. We'll have more on that coming up very, very soon. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. What's on your mind?
Howdy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. I just wanted to finish that thought that I'd started, and I wanted to ask a question of the Rod.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the thought is that they say those things on the news and in TV shows to strengthen the subliminal energy programming they're sending to us, number one. And number two, it's a feedback loop. Like, I think Tracy Dyer made us said something about Trump having a feedback loop with us.
Right, yep.
Only theirs is the opposite. It's the negative, like, empty vacuum.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So they want to keep us on that downward spiral and that consistently contraction state, like contracting in until we disappear and we no longer exist.
Absolutely.
Where if our consciousness is expansive, then we have children, and those children have children, and then we are consistently until we grow out of this shell that you call flat Earth.
Right. I agree with you.
So at some point, I mean, it's already getting too small in a way, not because of our population, but because our consciousness is already curious to get beyond it.
That's an interesting point. What's your Rod question? I like that thought. What's your Rod question?
So the question I have for the Rod, it's sort of a three-part question.
The Rods are yes and no, laughed answer. You know that. You always make it so complicated with the Rods.
Okay, three questions then. So the first question, are there cyborgs like in Terminator?
Are there cyborgs like in Terminator living in this world today? It says yes. I would have said no. Yeah, it says yes. Okay. So let's go with that. Yes.
Okay, so they're half flesh, half machine. Like there's flesh on the outside, there's skin. It looks like a real thing.
Laughed answer. We saw the movie. Let's do the second question.
Second question, is Pence a cyborg?
Oh, dude. Is Mike Pence a cyborg? No answer. That's interesting. What's the third question?
Okay, well, okay, is Melania a cyborg?
I'll not say definitely no, but I'll ask. Is Melania Trump a cyborg? No, she's not. She might be something other than just a plain old earthly being. I think she might have some extra juice about her, but no, she's not a cyborg.
Is she a human?
Well, is Melania Trump a human? Yes, she is.
Okay. Does she have a little extra something in her?
We're going to move on from that. 4 or 5 broad questions is enough for each caller. 4 or 5 questions is enough for each caller. We want to be fair. We want to leave some room for other people. Yeah, but even the Rods had to think about Pence. Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. It is crazy when you start thinking about it. But, you know, there's a reason why Melania takes so much crap. She's classy. She's elegant. She supports her husband. And I just think there's something extra about Melania. And we'll ask Laugh Dancer's other question. Is there something a little extra? Is there a little extra juice in Melania? The Rods say yes. Yeah, I think she's got a little more. Wouldn't that be interesting if Melania might be one of the remote viewers? Because Cynthia makes a really good point. She says that a lot of times when Melania is in public, when Cynthia's looked at her, Melania looks like she's not scared to death, but it looks like she's very, very on guard, because maybe Melania is able to see many possibilities that could happen. And Melania might have that curse of being both an empath and a person that can remote view, because a lot of times when you remote view, you can see multiple possible outcomes. And being an empath and knowing there's all these outcomes could be very, very difficult on you. Whereas when you're somebody like Donald Trump, and I think I'm somewhat like this, we could see all the different outcomes, but we know somehow within us that we will be on the victorious outcome, and it doesn't matter what those other things that could happen. I don't think President Trump spends much time worrying about what might happen, because he spends all of his time making sure that he manifests what is going to happen. And people that are empaths, like my lovely wife, they have some hard times that people like me that are just locked and loaded and manifesting bulls in the proverbial china shops of life. We don't really care about it. And Melania is highly intelligent as well. Highly intelligent. I agree with that 100%. Laugh Dancer loves Melania. She just wanted to, bring out some great questions on Melania, and she did. There's something different about her, very magnetic. I agree with you on that, Bella. I think that's what I was trying to talk about. President Trump does seem to have great powers of manifestation. He does seem to be very hyper aware, and he definitely has at least very talented remote viewers working for him, or he might be a remote viewer himself. Laugh Dancer says that she thinks that Melania has a purity that sparkles like a diamond. I would agree with that. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Joe.
Hey, Joe, what's on your mind?
Do you mind a quick rod?
No. What is it?
So, not totally is a computer silicon and metal, but I've heard of a different kind of organic kind of computer.
Right.
So with that in mind, certain places in the government, are there implants of those kind of I call them biomechanical entities planted.
Let's ask. That's a great question. Are there biomechanical entities implanted? Yes to that. Are there a number of them placed in strategic positions throughout society? Are some of the people that we would say in the truth movement potentially one of them? Oh, maybe so, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe so. My friend Robert Stanley has speculated that Melania, I don't know if he would call her an angel, but I think he has speculated that Melania is a higher being. And I have great respect for Robert, and that's Robert Stanley. Unicus Magazine is his website. Gary says that President Trump is General Patton reincarnated. We had Jenny Moonstone on, and she kind of agrees with that. And I think that that's a distinct possibility. 17 laughed answer is Fight Club. You know, we don't talk about that letter. We talk about Fight Club because we don't want to get ourselves in trouble. Sean weighing in that Melania is like Jackie O and like Grace Kelly in style. I'm going to go ahead and close the phone lines for the night. I appreciate all of the great calls that we had. You can't do much better than ending off with Joe Sapiens. So I appreciate all of you being here tonight. And Steve Steffer says that she's a secret mega brainiac. I think she is. Can you imagine being that physically attractive and a brainiac? That is so amazing. Jay says it's a great show. I really appreciate it very, very much. Folks, this is a great show, and it's a great show because of all the great people that listen to it. And it's a great show because of all of the great people that call in. This isn't a great show because of me, and I think we all know that. It's a great show because of you and the people that call in and the people that do what they're doing. And I want to thank Susan for her subscription to Fluffy. Susan, you're going to love it. You'll be glad that you did it. And this is, we say it all the time, it's the best chat room on YouTube, and that just sounds like it's filler, but it's not. I've seen a lot of chat clubs, chat rooms, and I've seen a lot of people, and it really is very, very powerful who you are, and is very, very powerful what you do. And we appreciate everyone here. We always leave it open for our critics to call in. They just never do. We want you to have the balls. We want you to make some calls. And maybe tomorrow night is the night when we have our critics call in. So, folks, a lot going on. Is Joe Biden planning to concede in exchange for clemency, if you will? Has Gina Haspel been spirited off to Guantanamo Bay? Has she already been killed? You know that the Iranian scientist got shot. It's now come out that he was probably shot by a remote control machine gun. Wow. What's Iran going to do in response to that? And we have a brewing constitutional situation here. And I think that we are going to go down, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to go down, and it's going to go down hard. I think it's going to be a powerful, powerful time. There's going to be some difficulties. There's going to be some rough times, but that's okay, because when the going gets rough, the rough get going. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. We are the rough. We are the tough. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You are the last generation of real humans. We're unindoctrinated. We're asking questions. We're questioning answers. And we are going to make this world a better place than it's ever been, sooner than you can even imagine. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Until then, I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. Boom.